Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 15th event that Newry Maritime Association have hosted in connection with the Connemara Retriever Centenary. And I'm sure you're all well versed with the story. At this stage, it's still the worst ever tragedy to impact this area, and 94 people lost their lives on the 3rd of November 1916, just out past the lighthouse here, when the passenger livestock ferry Connemara, sailing from Greenore to Holyhead, collided with the inbound Newry registered coal boat SS Retriever. And we're here today to remember a man, James Boyle, a local man, a young seaman of 21 years, and he was a member of the crew of the Retriever. And James Boyle is unique because he was the sole survivor. He was the only one of 95 people who lived to tell the tale, although, as we talked about earlier, Jimmy never spoke about the tragedy because I suppose in many ways he was the most unfortunate person of the whole lot. He was the only one that had witnessed what had happened, had heard what had happened, and he was haunted, or must have been haunted, by those terrible memories for the next 51 years until he passed away in 1967. So it's very fitting that we have an event, particularly to remember Jimmy, and here in his hometown of Warrenpoint, and particularly appropriately at Warrenpoint Harbour, given that he was a seaman. As I said, this is the 15th event that we've had. We started off on the 11th of June in Cologne in the Yacht Club, and we have established a heritage trail now from Kilkeel right up along the coast into Newry, into South Armagh, and down to the Cooley Peninsula, Carlingford and Cooley itself. And you know, the spread of people that came from the northern end of the country, from counties down in Armagh, Leitrim, Sligo, Donegal, even from County Antrim. And your parish priest here, as I'm sure you know, Canon Kearney, is a South Armagh man, and there were 4 people from South Armagh on the Connemara that night. In fact, there was a girl from Father Kearney's own parish of Cullyhanna, a girl called Angela McArdle, a brother and sister from Whitecross, Plaque and Kathleen Kearney, whose bodies were never found, and another girl, a Mary Carroll from Crossmaglen. And we have had events to remember those. We have been in South Armagh, and as I say, at Cooley as well. So the legacy of this project will be that these people will be remembered. They haven't been forgotten, although the mist of time certainly have diminished the memory. But I think that through this project, the legacy will be that it'll be back as it should be in the public memory. And today we're also joined by George Dinsmore, and George, local man too. George has written a song, The Cold Waters of Greenore, and he's going to perform that for us. He wrote the song through the eyes of Jimmy Boyle. The song gives Jimmy Boyle's perspective on what happened that terrible night. So George, if you would like to come up and give us a rendition, we'd be more than happy to hear it.
Clouds hung low on that bleak November day, and the wind blew wild and free as we sailed out from the Mersey side to cross the Irish Sea. Our hearts were high, we were sailing home, back to our native shore. How I curse when I think what that night will bring in the cold waters of Greenore. Farewell, dear friends I've known so well, I never will see you more. For you lie beneath the tide, beneath the dark mooring side, in the cold waters of Greenore. Day to night and the wind still rolls, no stars to light our way, as we took the cut across the bar into Carlingford Bay. The good ship Connemara was bound for Holyhead, when our path did cross with a mighty crash out upon the bay. Farewell, dear friends I've known so well, I never will see you more. For you lie beneath the tide, beneath the dark mooring side, in the cold waters of Greenore. The wind and waves were the cries around, the source in the dark unseen, as I pray to God for to take my hand and lead me from this dream. Then a light it broke the clouds above, was the silver of the moon. On the rocks I saw that ghostly form, and heard it ready ruin. Farewell, dear friends I've known so well, I never will see you more. For you lie beneath the tide, beneath the dark mooring side, in the cold waters of Greenore. Morning light, oh my God, what a sight! There were bodies in wreckage ruin all along that fair shore, from Omeath to Greenore, from Rostrevor to Kilkeel town. I alone am left to tell the tale, in my mind it will live evermore, of 14 souls were lost in the cold waters of Greenore. Farewell, dear friends I've known so well, I never will see you more. For you lie beneath the tide, beneath the dark mooring side, in the cold waters of Greenore.
George Dinsmore, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, George. And I'm sure you all agree, a very poignant tribute to Jimmy Boyle. I now call upon Canon John Kearney to give a reflection and say a wee prayer of dedication before the chairman unveils the plaque. Canon Kearney.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, also the members of the Boyle family who gather here this morning in tribute to all the people who lost their lives on that tragic night, and also in tribute to their Uncle Jimmy. In this community, the disaster of 1916 is still spoken about. Even yesterday I met a man whose father went down the loch to bring the divers down to the wreck, and it still is very much fresh in his mind. We think of all the people who lost their lives. We think of the many families scattered all over the area and indeed further afield who were affected by this awful tragedy. And in a quiet moment we remember them and we pray a short prayer for them all. Lord God our Father, you gather us together here today. We think of all the people on that fateful night. We think of them all. They are with you. We ask you to watch over them and protect them and guide them. We thank you as well for the Maritime Association who have kept their memory very much alive in our hearts, in our communities, and in many of the families of this area. Bless them, watch over them, and inspire them in their great work. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in peace. May their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Canon. And just to say that on the 3rd of November, the actual centenary day, Canon Kearney has given us great assistance. There's going to be a tolling of church bells around the loch, and Canon has written to the various priests and other clergy from different faiths. And at 8:30 on Thursday the 3rd, bells will be rung from Cooley to Newry and down to Grange. So just to let you know that that will be taking place. But I'd ask now our chairman, Michael OHare, to unveil our plaque in memory of Jimmy and to say a few words after it. So, would you like to unveil our plaque, Michael?
More side.
It's our plaque today, by the way, is sponsored by NWQ, Peter Joe and Joe Cars there on the Warrenpoint Road. And once again, I'd like to commend Mickey Mallon, our blacksmith. Mickey is responsible for all the fabricating with the plaques, etc. And the plaque itself, of course, done by Michael McCall, who looks after all our sign writing requirements. So, without further ado, I'll hand you over to the chairman, Michael OHare. Michael.
Reverend Father, ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to be able to unveil this plaque here today to the memory of James Boyle. But as James said, you know, James Boyle, yes, survived that awful tragedy that night. But I'm sure throughout his 51 years, there were many nights where James Boyle relived that tragedy over and over again. We can only try to imagine the horror that James Boyle listened to that night as he clung to an upturned lifeboat in that raging southwesterly storm. He would have heard the plaintive cries of the dying carried on the wind that night, of the men, women and children who perished. And those memories would have stayed with him all his life. Not only that, but also the haunted, ghostly footsteps of his long-dead shipmates would also have been imprinted forever on his memory. It's wonderful to unveil this plaque here today, where people will remember. And as Canon Kearney said, when we remember, people have not gone away. They are still with us, like our own families and everyone else. When we remember someone, they are still alive. So this plaque and the entire project that we endeavoured on with this Connemara Retriever Centenary is to let people know, with all of the plaques, which are all associated with each particular area, that people will see them and they can follow the trail that will keep this tragedy in the memories of them all. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming along, and that concludes our little event today. Can I just invite you all to come along on Thursday, the 3rd of November, come to Newry. At 12 o'clock on the day, we will be unveiling a commemorative plaque at River Street, at the junction of River Street, Kilmurray Street, where the other tributes are. And we'll be unveiling a plaque there for the members of the crew of the Retriever. And then at 1 o'clock at Dublin Bridge, just at the top of River Street, we will be unveiling a dedicated memorial at the Dublin Bridge site for all the victims, the 94 victims of the terrible tragedy. So once again, thanks very much for coming along, and it's lovely to have this tribute here now to Jimmy as part of the legacy of this project. Thanks once again, and thank you, George, for coming and giving us the song, and we hope we'll see you in Newry on the 3rd of November. Thank you very much.
Right, our friends, welcome back to the Banter Show, and we're here in Warrenpoint at the unveiling of another plaque of the Retriever and the Connemara disaster centenary out in Carlingford Loch. We're joined by the lovely Liz Boyle. Liz, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. All the better for seeing you.
Oh, thank you very much.
So Liz, it's a poignant day for you really, isn't it, here in the Warrenpoint?
It is, and it has been for a number of weeks, because there's been a lot of people remembered with 94 souls lost,
Indeed.
But it's particularly poignant for the Boyle family today, because it's remembering great Uncle Jimmy.
Great Uncle Jimmy.
Yeah.
And it's nice even to hear that. It's a nice ring to it, and it brings the family, the family kind of buzz into the whole thing, doesn't it?
It does, yes. And I mean, as a small child, my memory of him, he didn't go back to sea after the disaster. And my memory of him was a very quiet man, always wore his flat cap. And he worked in Warrenpoint Town Hall as the live-in caretaker in those days. And he would have been sitting in front of a dark with rosary beads in his hands praying.
God bless him.
Mm-hmm.
God bless him.
Yeah.
A great man now.
Man.
He went through, and he was mentally tortured for years.
Oh yes, has to have been.
But he kept himself quiet.
Very quiet man, kept himself to himself, didn't talk about it. Obviously couldn't talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, God bless him. God knows what he's seen and heard that night.
Well, from different people that you're speaking to, over the years at different services for them, I've spoke to different families, and it's tremendous, the stories you hear. And it was it's the most major tragedy in Carlingford Loch.
Absolutely. And it's great that it's documented now, because it was it's not that it was hidden due to the circumstances back in the day, 1916, the Somme and all this.
Yeah.
So it was kind of phased out of the news, if you like.
Yeah, maybe. Now, I remember 20 years ago, the 80th, I can't believe it's 20 years ago, and it was a big commemoration for it. So I think from then on, it's been remembered, and it's still continuing to be remembered, and it will be until next month.
And the legacy lives on.
James Boyle's
Yeah.
the gentleman from Restrever.
Yeah. But as I say, he's up and there's his photograph up there.
And you know, he actually lived over here as well in the square in Warrenpoint. My uncle
Lived over this side somewhere.
Yeah,
didn't he?
my uncle John Boyle, JJ Boyle, had a photography studio over there, and my grandfather lived there. And my grandfather's the man who seen the ghost ship coming up the loch the night before the disaster.
I didn't know about this now.
Oh, no,
You sprung
yeah.
that one on me.
No.
Give us a bit of background on that now, Liz.
Well, all I know is, I mean, talking to my daddy in years after the event and that, my grandfather was Jack Boyle, and their sitting room is upstairs, and he's seen the ghost ship coming down the loch. He was interviewed for television and all about it, but he had no idea that it was going to be Jimmy was going to be involved, or the tragedy that was.
That's a real freaky one there now,
It
Liz,
was,
isn't it?
It was, yeah.
And that has obviously went through your family
Oh,
as well.
totally,
you know?
totally. That's a memory as a child that I'll never forget. You know, I mean.
And you can't discount these stories.
No,
You know, you
no,
can't
no.
because there's something out of our control. You know.
They're out of our control, and as I say, you know, Jimmy, I mean, we always knew that Jimmy was the sole survivor. People said he held on to the tail of a cow. That was folklore. He didn't. He held on to the remnants of the ship. You know, he held on to driftwood, and that's what got him, back
It's an
into
amazing
shore.
story, Liz. And,
It is.
You know, I'm sure you're proud to be part of it. You know,
Oh,
really.
totally. And for everybody, I mean, like Jimmy survived it, but I mean, for every family member that's touched, you know, I mean, about the tragedy and about remembering it, you know, and Canon Kearney, you know, coming this morning's lovely, and Canon Kearney's going to, on the run up the week to the 3rd of November, he's going to call out the names of, you know, all of the people that died, so many every day at morning mass, just to remember them, just to pray for them.
Oh, well, that's
And
a
it's
nice
lovely.
touch. Yeah,
It's
it is.
human.
It's human, and it's
Yeah.
I know it's an awful tragedy, but that's a nice end, as you say, Canon
It
Kearney
is.
paying tribute
Yeah.
individually.
And
by the way.
great credit to Michael OHare, the chairperson of Newry Maritime, and to James and to
Indeed.
Mickey for all their efforts and all their work in keeping it to the fore of everybody's mind.
Indeed. Liz, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Not-
As always. As always, Liz, you're
See
an
you
absolute
soon.
star. Welcome back, friends. We're now joined with singer-songwriter, the one, the only, George Dinsmore. George,
Tony, nice
how
to
are
meet
you?
How you going?
George, that was a terrific song you sang there, and it was
Thank you.
there's
very
great
much.
wording in it, I have to say. You know, you
Right,
could,
thank
a
you.
lot of people here felt all them words really.
Right, because it was actually the story he was trying to tell from leaving Liverpool back into what happened that night, you know.
Yeah, and you know, it was good to see you yesterday, and you're part of all this now, whether you like it or not. You know,
It's great.
it is great, isn't
It's
it?
lovely,
And it's
lovely
lovely to
to-
bring all them people's memories back, isn't it?
It is, you know, it's something I grew up with.
Yeah,
From Warrenpoint myself, and over the years from my father and the family right down. So it was great to sort of get the pieces together, and there was a lot of going back and checking because there was a lot of stories coming in and swapping and changing, trying to get as near the facts as possible, you know.
Yeah.
So
well, you've done a great job, and as I say, everybody could feel that, you know, they could feel the depth and the density of that song. You know,
thank you.
literally.
It is. It's quite an experience. The actual song, there's no way around it. It really was
Yeah,
really fateful, you know. It was.
absolutely tragic, but a nice poignant day, and you sung it beautifully, I have to say.
Thank you very much.
And well done. You keep up the singing, no matter what. So thanks for talking to us here in the
You're
Banter Show,
welcome,
George.
Tony. Thank you very
The one, the
much.
only George Dinsmore, ladies and gentlemen,
Thanks a
singer-songwriter.
million.